All right. I was wrong. Okay. I was wrong. I was wrong AF. All right. About this upcoming Secret Lair, The Walking Dead X. Yesterday I did drop a video, and it was very negatively perceived. And at first I could not understand why it was. Okay. I had somewhat of an idea, but it wasn't until I really started looking into the history on special or mechanically unique cards that I kind of figured out, wow, this actually is a big problem. And these cards should not exist. And if they do exist, they need to go, Wizards needs to go about this an entirely different way. So I want to first give you guys what I learned about these mechanically unique cards, not these specifically, but from Magic's history. So the first ones we have are as follows. You got Arena, Sewers, Windseeker, and Mana Crypt. All four of these cards were released. They were redeemable by mail and coupon found in the 1994 book Arena by Harper Prism based on Magic the Gathering. And the same went for following three books. So you buy one of these books, you get a coupon, and you get to redeem one of these cards. The last being Mana Crypt. And as we all know, Mana Crypt is a very, very highly played card, especially in Commander. It's just awesome. It's that good of a card, and Vintage and Legacy and all that good stuff. It's just dominating, okay? Not dominating, but it appears in all sorts of decks, okay? Some of these other cards are very interesting as well, but none of which had the appeal that Mana Crypt had, all right? The problem with that was, well, not only that it was a problem, and not only, only certain people can get their hands on them. Mana Crypt was reprinted again and again and again. We understand that. But then along came some spiders. After Wizards said, okay, we're not going to do that again. Well, they did it again. And they did it again with, I'm going to hope I say this wrong, Nalathini Dragon. Nalathini Dragon. Which by itself is not even that impressive of a card. It does see some play, etc., etc. But the issue was, in 94, 10,000 copies of these were made available. That was it. 10,000 copies, and it was at the Dragon Con, okay? So in order to get this, you had to be in attendance at the Dragon Con. Players got upset, and the number of copies then increased. Wizards was like, okay, well, what are we going to do here? So the Duelist, I don't know how, I just dated myself. I remember the Duelist and Inquest. You guys remember that too? It had prices of Magic cards and just stories, lore, upcoming things, and Magic-related, Wizards-related products, all types of stuff like that. And they then included in a Duelist copy of their magazine one of these cards. So, hey, now, if you want one of these, go ahead and just buy a Duelist magazine, and you will have it. Wizards then again promised not to do this again. Now, I think I might be missing something along the timeline here. There may have been something else where there were some talks of a few things. I've heard rumors of other cards, special promo kind of cards, and whatnot. But Fire Song and Sunspeaker then came along in 2018 with Dominaria, which I was really excited about. I was hoping we'd even go back and see Urza in this block. As a Planeswalker, I thought that was a really cool concept and idea. I know he was decapitated, I understand. But I thought it would be pretty cool. So anyway, Dominaria was dropped, and they started this buy a box promo thing, which was new to Magic. Buy a box, get one of these nice shiny foil cards, Fire Song and Sunspeaker. The thing they did with these cards was they made them so they were not overpowering. At least that's what they told people. So that kind of, made people not as outraged. They're like, okay, well, all right, fine. But, still, you can only get one of these cards if you buy a box of Dominaria or it hits secondary market, and then prices can jump and whatnot. I think Fire Song and Sunspeaker is still a little low. But along came the big spider, and that is Nexus of Fate. Nexus of Fate was a pretty big deal because Nexus of Fate saw a lot of play, especially in Standard, where basically for control players, it was a great way to close out the game. It was so great of a way to close out the game because it was similar to a Time Walk, which a lot of people were like, it's a 7-drop Time Walk, it's not going to see much play. Well, there is a little catch to this card. If Nexus of Fate would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, put it into if Nexus of Fate would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Nexus of Fate and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. So the odds of you getting Nexus of Fate greatly increased as the game went on. You would just keep seeing it, and you can keep taking extra turns, and you'd have all this extra mana and whatnot. To do so, it was just kind of brutal, and they ended up banning Nexus of Fate. Also came Kenrith the Return King, which was not as impactful as Nexus of Fate, but there were decks like Fires of Inventions, the Golas Field decks, if you remember those. I know I do. They were all over an arena, and what ended up happening was Fires of Invention got banned, okay? And Kenrith was not as powerful, but Kenrith still on his own is legit. He's powerful. He sees playing commander and what have you. But again, the problem was they said they wouldn't do this, and they did it again. So then what comes after that? WotC finally pulled the plug, stating they would no longer make mechanically unique buy-a-box promos. There was a poor community reaction and some cards seeing tournament play when they weren't supposed to. That's the reason why the plug was pulled again, But what did we learn from this? Why the F do these exist? If Wizards was trying to teach us something that, they're not going to do this again, why do these cards exist 1 month after, with Zendikar Rising being released, and them telling us they're not going to do this anymore, the buy-a-box promo cards, it just won't happen. Well, they just basically changed it up a little bit. Why? Why did Wizards do this? Oh, that's why. Money. Wizards loves money. I mean, they are a company, respectfully so. They need profits, and they like to get a lot of profits. However, going about it the way they did was in very poor taste, and we're going to get into that in a second. Now, there is a rule. Rule 0 of the Commander rule list allows players to make their own house rules, which is pretty legit, while using the overall rules of Commander play. That allows silver-bordered cards to see play. Silver-bordered cards also appear in Cube, and that would be like the Dungeons & Dragons, the bots over here, Nerf War. It's Nerf or nothing, baby. I remember having those back in the day. And that was received as, okay, that's fine. They're not black-bordered. Black-bordered cards like these are legal. They are legal in Eternal formats. So releasing those after they release stuff like this, even the My Little Pony, I have it still around here somewhere. I put it back in the closet, safe keep. And then after releasing cards like these My Little Pony cards, players were not as upset because they are silver bordered. Okay, silver bordered means a lot in the sense they can't just see play everywhere. Okay. What upset people, and I understand now. Well, Walker tokens are mechanically unique in the sense that, well, usually a card like this at the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent creates 3 Walker tokens. If they would have said something like creates 2 zombie tokens or something like that, that would have been a little different. Something along those lines, but that is not the case. Another issue is Glenn, the voice of Calm, is a big issue. There's more issues to come. Glenn has potential to actually be pretty powerful, and Legacy is one area it's a possibility. He could take off. I can't say that it's going to be that or it's not, but he has huge potential there. So that's an issue. The outrage of these cards, in a nutshell, are basically Wizards' approach. Get them while they're hot, and it would be a shame to FOMO, fear of missing out. And then the secondary market, these cards just blow up, especially if any of these cards ended up seeing tournament play, at the competitive level, and things take off. The price of these cards is going to skyrocket because there's only so many of them out there. Regardless, it's crazy. A whole week, you got to wonder how many of these are going to be printed. How many are going to be purchased? I wish we had figures and numbers of these things. I think that would really help, maybe even make the community feel a little better about some things. But even that being the case, they should have printed these silver bordered. And something else to mention, even if one of these turns out to be decent, not even competitive commander play, they're still going to fetch a high price point. Okay. Also, the odds of Wizards reprinting these cards are not the greatest due to licensing fees. However, Mark Rosewater already said that if one of these do take off, then they will most likely reprint those cards. When? We don't know. Could be a few years. Still, the prices are going to be really high. They went about it pretty backwards, okay? I really think they went about it backwards. There's also rumors WotC plans to release several similar secret layers just like this in the near future, after which point they would have a super secret layer where you have a chance of pulling one of these cards from these sort of secret layers. That's all fine and dandy to think about it that way. But why go about it how they did? Why make it that way? Why not be like, all right, we're going to handle things differently. What we're going to do is print these cards. Before the secret layer special art, they should have just printed these normally in like a regular Commander, pre-con that they drop, annually. Especially with how many they got coming out now. I mean, every set seems to have its own Commander pre-con now. I mean, I think they do. Zendikar Rising, yeah. The next one's going to have one. I mean, they're going to be smaller, not as big, but nonetheless, they're going to be printing them. Why couldn't they just drop this in one of those sets? I guess that maybe would have caused a lot of issues. There's going to be so many issues. But what's happening right now in the community, our players are demanding the Commander Rules Committee ban these cards before they print these cards, since they are black border. And the price, will be skyrocketing and all that stuff. Wizards is taking advantage. Look, basically, Wizards is taking advantage of players to cash in on this, because they are going to be limited only for that 1 week window, and then when they're gone, they're gone. And the only way to get them is on the secondary market. You can't just go out and buy a box somewhere because there's 500,000 of them, all about, and people are just even have them hoarded up in warehouses and whatever. They're going to be available only based on the secondary market, another person selling them, like on your eBay or Amazon, TCG Player, Card Kingdom, Card Market. I mean, whatever the case may be. If these cards are not banned, if cards go unbanned, WotC will continue to print similar cards, and they basically will win. And this can cause many problems down the road. Yes, because I agree with you guys now, okay? This will cause a lot of issues. If they need to go about it the other way. How I just said, drop it in a Commander set and then do some special prints of this. That would have been acceptable. Maybe. I mean, maybe. There's still... No, that would have been, I think, the proper way to go about it. I don't think there would be a problem with that. Or if they would have done the silver border thing, yeah, I definitely understand that now. My initial video, I just made it seem like I don't see the issue. I think it's a cool concept. They're new cards. They're mechanically new art, or not mechanically new art, mechanically new. There's new mechanics. I sometimes get flustered when I talk in front of the camera this long, but it will cause a bunch of issues. No matter how you look at this right now, they did it. They went about it the wrong way. Also, the region exclusive, as mentioned in yesterday's video. They're not available everywhere, which that I was 100% for, But my argument was, it's kind of like a reserve list, and I thought that would be a neat concept, But then, man, people hate the reserve list because prices are just crazy on the reserve list, and they continuously go up, never to be reprinted again. And this was kind of gearing towards a reserve list kind of look, but they're printing new reserve list cards, which I think at that point, yeah, that'd be kind of nutty. With potential to reprint them, though, that's something else. But no one wants to pay an arm and a leg for cards. It's a card game, guys. We all want to just play the game. We don't want to have to spend $100, on one of these cards, because it just takes off and you can't get it anywhere else. That would kind of stink. I definitely understand now, and I sincerely do apologize. I think I didn't look at the big picture. I didn't look at how much the community was outraged about this and how it really would negatively impact the Magic the Gathering. Not completely destroying the game, but definitely I think we may have lost some players, because there'd be a lot of uncertainties in how Wizards is going to handle things in the future. And it just would make the game a bit unfair in certain, certain aspects. So if WotC goes along as planned, releasing the Walking Dead X as scheduled, without change, they should guarantee these cards and similar cards appear in an upcoming Commander product this year. That's if they go about it this way. If it's already scheduled for release. If they're going to drop it, they're not going to ban them. They're just going to put them out there. I think that's fine. But I think moving forward, they definitely have to reprint them in another annual Commander set, like this year, like print it. I think that would be fine this time. But afterwards, you have to guarantee us this will not happen again. You have to guarantee the player base that you guys will print these cards differently, not in a secret layer first. Print them in a regular Commander, your annual Commander drop, or whatever the case may be, in your pre-cons. And then you want to fancy up the art, go ahead. That's how any other product moves around. I think the concept of introducing different, TV shows and characters and things, I like it, but at the same time, it's a really tight rope to walk on because where does it end? There's people making jokes about The Office. I mentioned Family Guy or The Simpsons, cartoons, there's people talking about Power Rangers. I mean, where does it end? And clearly they're doing this. There's cross promotion to sell more cards. I don't really see a major issue with that because I think it will bring new players to the game. But if you're going to do that, can we not release the special art cards first? Can we not make it, there's a limited supply and a limited print run and a limited window to pick up these cards? That's where I'm at with all this. I really think it needs to, they need to fix this and put it in not even writing, but they need to do something to reassure us that this kind of product release will not happen in the future, because they have talked out their butts many times saying that no more, we're done with this, let's put it aside. Okay, you guys are right, you're all upset. Okay, as you've seen with the past cards, you didn't like the approach, fine, we're done with it. And then, guess what, surprise, we're doing it again. That's really sticking it to us. It really is. And at the end of the day, that's not the way you want to operate a business, because if you're going to lose faith in your players that are the ones buying your product, they're making this card game what it is, and collectors also, but really the players, is where it's at. The card game before, I think it's a collectible game, and even trading card game, it is a collectible trading card game. It says so on a lot of the packaging. So yeah, collectible, but definitely playing the game comes first, man. So yeah, I had a change of thought, a change of heart when I started seeing all the negative feedback, and I had to do my own research, because I was still up until I was up late last night thinking about this, and I'm like, I don't understand why everyone's so upset. So I had to do my own research and discover why. What are the reasons? Why would this upset so many people? And now I do see it, because if they get away with it the first time, they're going to keep doing it, So either promise us that you're going to print this like really soon, reprint these cards, like, this is your big boo-boo, admit it, own it. Say you're liars. You told us one thing, and that clearly was not the case. You went back on your word several times and did these buy a box promos, these other kind of promo cards, and that it won't happen again. And actually mean it, like, have some accountability for your actions and credibility in your own words moving forward. That would be the way to do it. And if not, start printing this stuff in silver border or something, because yeah, this has been the talk of the town, and a lot of people are outraged, and now I understand the outrage. So Joey Moss, my apologies. Yeah, I took the video down because it was so negatively viewed. And again, I needed time to think about it. But yeah, that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? What direction should they go? Or should they take? Is this that big of a deal to you guys? I know a lot of you have mixed opinions and thoughts on this, but I think it's mostly the newer players who are more thinking, my thoughts, originally. What's the big deal? I think it's neat. Let's just drop a whole bunch of them. Special kind of cards. What's wrong with having some value in some cards? Because have you seen what happened to draft boosters lately? The price on draft booster boxes, the cards inside of them, it's just not that pretty, guys, because of all these fancy, shiny rainbow foil cards and extended art and gold signature cards now. I mean, what's next, man? They're going to put a donkey and a unicorn 3D that pops up, like in a flip book or something. I don't know. But I thought in that aspect it was kind of neat that, wow, there's actually going to be some value, outside of, I guess it would still be shiny and foily, and it'd be limited. So, again, I'll put my foot right in my own mouth on that one. That's all I got. This was me being just straightforward and real with you, giving my 2 cents, my thoughts, after putting this all together. Now I want to hear yours. Go skadoosh yourself.